right. Hello, hello. Good to see everybody on this beautiful Tuesday evening. Waiting for everybody to join us here. I have a very special guest, very exciting interview we're going to do today. We're talking Hollywood, we're talking entertainment, we're talking movie production. So I have a good friend joining us. He's been in the industry a long time as an actor and now is a movie producer. And we are going to chat with him today. Hello, everybody from Instagram. Thanks for joining. Nice to see all of you guys. And hey, let's get this thing started, guys. Help me welcome my good friend, actor, producer, executive producer, and he owns his own film production company, Torque Films. Here's Mr. David Wachs is going to be joining us. Yes.
All
Mr.
right.
Wachs.
Mr. Weinstein.
How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. Good to see
Good.
you on here.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I see you got your movie posters in the back.
I do.
And it's interesting because we're going to be talking about those two projects today, right?
Yeah.
Because you have you were acting in Ride, right?
I was an actor producer.
Actor producer. So you did produce on Ride.
So a little bit about just some backstory on me. Believe it or not, I came out to Los Angeles. Feels like a lifetime ago. I've been in the business for over 2 decades, over 20 years in this business.
20 years.
20 years. So when I was 1 year old, no, just kidding. 20 years in the business. I came out to Los Angeles to be a hip hop dancer. I was a dancer first. And I worked with some really cool artists. I worked with artists like Usher and Omarion. And I booked a Pepsi commercial. I got Taft-Hartley'd. Taft-Hartley'd is when you're working on a union project, a SAG. At the time, it was just SAG. And now it is what is called SAG-AFTRA. But they still Taft-Hartley today. And you can be Taft-Hartley'd from a feature film, from a commercial, from doing background work. But I was Taft-Hartley'd to do this Pepsi commercial. And I became SAG and now SAG-AFTRA. At the time, my manager was like, "Hey, do you act?" And I was like, "Of course I act." And I had never acted a day in my life. I think I had done like a play back in, high school or something like that.
Sounds like my acting experience. Can you do this? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it.
Exactly. So anyways, I said yeah to the opportunity. I started getting submitted. At first, I wasn't really booking. I studied. I went to the Beverly Hills Playhouse. I studied with Margie Haber. I studied with a bunch of coaches. And then I started booking more and more. And I got some co-stars, some guest stars. Finally got to book a feature film. And that's kind of how I got into the business. So it was one thing that led to the next, that led to the next. And then there was a slew of things that led to obviously my producing career.
Yeah, well, dude, you've been very successful in entertainment. You've been chipping away at the stone, as you say, and proud of you, man. Like proud of you and what you've accomplished and your producing career now. And you're owner of Torque Films, right? Yeah. And you guys just made that movie poster behind you, 72 hours.
72 hours. So I got into producing from, believe it or not, I got into producing from a series of things. So I was doing simultaneously while I was doing my acting, I got into music publishing. I booked a song on a television show, got my publishing company, and I started producing music videos and commercials, and finally got into doing feature films. And about almost a decade ago, 8 years ago, just about 8 years ago, I started my company with my business partner, Ojan Misagi, Torque Films. And we've been doing consistently, even through COVID, we've always done about 1 to 2 films a year. And obviously our company is, really focusing on tax haven states and countries. We were shooting out of Georgia quite a bit. Now we're focusing in Kentucky for North America. We also have a team that we built out in Spain and Ireland, Spain and Malta to do co-productions. But for North America, Kentucky. And excited about 72 hours. We had a great theatrical release. We're cutting a deal with Hulu. I shouldn't really say too much, but it will be on Hulu soon. We're cutting a deal with them. Now our trajectory for 2025, we wanted to hit 4 films in 2025 to produce. And now we're looking like we might exceed those expectations to maybe 4, 5, or 6 films this year, and it's only going to get bigger. So we're really
That's
excited.
good, man. And one of those films is going to be with me and the Bad
Yes,
Boys.
yes, absolutely. We're looking forward to that.
We're gonna be taking over the screen.
Yes.
Absolutely. You know what's crazy is we actually are interviewing with anyways, I don't know if I could say it. We have some really big clothing companies that we're talking to as far as doing some videos for some parody videos. So it's going to be exciting. And I'm looking forward to completing this movie. Me and Dave actually had a wonderful conversation today about an outline of a movie that I wrote, and he provided some great notes. And it's always interesting to hear his perspective on it because he does all these films, all the time, where I'm creative and I'm just writing. He has the direction of actually how to make these films go. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, everybody. We're going to talk about acting and the movie business with my good friend, Mr. David Wachs. So how's everything going, man? Like what's new in the pipeline?
Well, I'll tell you something. The business is shifting constantly, and you have to move with the times, and you have to know, especially when it comes to producing, there's so many people around just running around with scripts and, saying creative. They'll come up to me and I've got this script, and, I ask them, well, what's the budget? $5 million, $10 million. And it's like, well, okay, well, who's attached? No one's attached yet. It's $5 million. Well, why is it $5 million, right? Like, I think you really need to know what it is you want to work with, be genre specific, and that's really what it comes down to in any business, any line of work, whether you're an actor, whether you're a producer, whether you're a writer, whether you're a director, be specific and know the craft of that particular department and be a master at that, right? And I think a lot of people really don't even know what a producer does. I get the question all the time, what is a producer? Because you have vanity producers, you have your actor that, is just, I want to be a producer. And if you want to attach me, they're big enough to just be a producer. You have a producer like myself, that's a boots on the ground. That's a physical producer that actually develops a project from A to Z, that works with development, works with creating a script, or, polishing a script, finding a script, optioning the script, finding the financing, finding the directors, finding the tax haven state or country, putting the team together, getting your director of photography, getting your art designer, getting your wardrobe, getting the insurances, getting your crafty, getting your caterers, getting all these things, and then doing post to then also making sure your sound is great, your sound and Foley is great, your soundtrack is great, your sound and Foley, your VFX, your color correction. And then you have to work with the distribution companies to actually sell the movie and make sure you have all the deliverables to not only sell domestically, but internationally. And that in a whole is what a producer actually does. And if any department goes wrong, it's the producer's fault. So a lot of responsibility, but very rewarding at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, dude, you've come a long way for sure, man. Let me tell you. And I'm excited to work with you on future projects. We've been friends for 100 years. Dave and I are vampires.
My brother from another mother.
We're from Twilight. Yeah. Me and Dave have been friends a long time. And on the road together, we were on the road, 10 plus years ago. And what a great time we had on the road. It's good, man. Incredible. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually get into some of these films, and we're going to show some of the films and the trailers and things that you've done. And we're just going to kind of like get into it and just pick your brain of like why you were thinking, like how was it going through this, some really good like acting insights. And then we're going to show 72 hours, and we're going to do some like, behind the scenes, like production stuff, like so people can really just understand the movie business. That's all we're doing today, is educating people in the movie business. And so this is one of our channels on Spotlight Pro. You guys can check out Spotlight Pro. We're actually going to be cutting the live feed on my personal Instagram because everybody wants to talk about Natalie and some stuff from the show, and I can't talk about that tonight, guys. That's not what this is about. But we encourage you to join us on the YouTube live. If you're watching from my Instagram live, the story is on there. It has the YouTube live link. Just click that, join us there, and we'll be able to answer all your questions on the YouTube live and talk to you guys there. So if you're on Instagram, join us on the YouTube live. It's on my story. Yes, I don't get Josh just is I'm misunderstood. You got it. You got me. I'm misunderstood. So join us there on YouTube, and I'm going to be cutting the Instagram live. Again, it's on my story, the YouTube live. Check us out there. We want to keep this conversation going. 1 second, and we're going to end my Instagram. Boom. Because everybody talks about things that we don't need to talk about, Dave.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
All right. So let's get into this. I just we'll give people a couple minutes to join on the YouTube, and then we'll I want to get into the actual films with you here.
Perfect.
How's LA?
LA is good. LA is good. We're looking like it's gonna be a downpour over the next couple of days, which we're needing the rain. Obviously, it was tragic what happened at the beginning of the year. What an opening of 2025. Almost half of LA burnt to the ground, and it's been surreal and unreal, and so unfortunate for some great friends and colleagues that I've known that have lost their homes. I fortunately still have my home, so thank God. But the rain is coming. Couple of weeks.
Yeah, I saw that. It's actually going to rain. I'm in Arizona right now. It's going to rain over here, so it's actually cold out here. But I might have to come to see you next week, man. I might have to talk soon. So let's get into the first film, Ride. Now, in Ride, you played a character, right? Who was your character in Ride?
So I played a character by the name of Paul, and he was a ride driver, which in obviously today's market would be an Uber or Lyft driver that had control issues and used this new way of connecting with people to take out his frustrations on the world. And I played a serial killer.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So
hey, you did a really good job. So let's, if we can, show a clip of Ride, and let's see Mr. David Wachs in action. Can we do that? Who is the Vega
Entertainment?
Follow me and get no peace.
Right. It's an app.
And I'll say, don't you stray too close to me.
It's like a taxi, just more comfortable.
It took a long time for my friend.
And my friend is giving us a ride type of way.
Follow me and get no peace.
Uh-oh.
I want.
You're that ride driver.
And you swore you could handle my crazy.
Oh boy.
Stay with stand, don't come nearer. I'm not your boy like stone floor. I'm your eclipse.
Crazy. That was a dope. I really like the soundtrack there. That's really cool. And great picture quality. Now, Dave, do you know the budget for that movie? What it was?
So I never like to disclose budgets, but what I can say is we did really well with the return on investment.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That was a great film, and you played a serial killer. So, how did you prepare for that role, Walks?
so one thing I did is just like anything. I'm not really a method actor by any means. You have to really find out what works for you, how you can get into the space, how you can justify in your head what would make you want to kill somebody, and how you can justify that. What I did do though is I actually I Uber drived for 2 weeks to study for that part. I got in,
Wow.
I Uber
That
clarification,
is kind of method acting, though, right? I
and
mean,
yeah, and I did. And I picked up people, and I felt what that was like, and I had conversations, and I did that, and it was pretty wild. It's pretty fun experience actually.
were
And
in the back of your mind while you're trying to get for this character, like, were you like, I wonder what it'd be like to kill this person?
sometimes, depending on the attitude. No, but yeah, what's great about acting is you get to be a child. You get to be your childlike self. You get to explore things about yourself that you would never explore. You get to play. You get to create. And you're just in this imaginary circumstance. And I think what I would tell all actors is be as real as possible. Be your authentic self. Don't try to be like anyone else. Don't try to, I mean, listen, you can emulate someone. You can, look at someone and say, I want to practice this monologue just like them. But really, it's bringing yourself to the table, because there is nobody else like you in this world. And the more authentic and true you are to yourself, and the more you can bring that and really create this imaginary circumstance and make it real and make it believable. And remember that you're not, especially in feature films, it's not about being in theater. You're not big, you're not over the top, you're not, unless you're doing slapstick comedy or it's that kind of work, it's subtle. Life is subtle. Life is what's behind the eyes. It's what's between the words. It's not the actual words itself. It's what's happening. What are the thought process that's going on that's not in the script? That's really interesting for people to watch. And the more you can get into that, the more you can bring your authentic self to a part, the more believable it is, the more fun it is for yourself, the more fun it is for the audience that's watching it. And they can fill in all those blanks. A lot of times, people will create a whole world you don't even know about just from your stillness, just from you being so grounded in that part. And I think that's really,
what is your mindset like when like all the cameras are on, like you're rolling, right? And you're acting this scene. Like, I mean, how do you deal with all the pressures of being on camera? Like, what works for you?
For me, it's really just blocking everything out and having those organic moments with the actor who you're doing the scene with the actors who you're doing the scene with, whether it's yourself doing a scene with yourself, looking in a mirror. It's identifying and really believing you're in that world. I'll tell you, the hardest thing for me with acting is not filming. The hardest thing as an actor is auditioning. Auditioning is the hardest part. And I think more actors, if you talk to them, will tell you that's the most difficult, because when you're actually filming a movie, you have everything there. You're actually in the desert, you're in the forest, or you're in the house that you have the props, you have the gun. When you're auditioning, you're in a room that's nothing like the scene, and you really have to believe that you're there. That's the work of an actor. Is making it real for the audition. And if you can get really good at that, once you hit your mark on set, it's easy. Then it's really, then you got to listen. You got to really listen, really take in those words of your partner, whoever you're acting in that scene with. Really listen to them as if you're hearing that for the first time. Not that you've read the scene 50 million times. You got to let all that go and really be present, really hear that for the first time, really respond and react for the first time. It's that authenticity that's going to make great performances. That's what we want. I think any project, it comes down to script. It's all about the script. It's all about having something great to work on. And then after that, it's really about just the craft, just the actor. You got to have good, believable performances, or not to say that every film is, I mean, they get released, but the ones that stand out, you're going to have a great script. You're going to have great performances.
Yeah.
Believe
And that leads into this question, Dave. What was the audition like? What did you have to do to be successful for one of those movies?
Well,
Think from like an actor's perspective, because I'm not sure if you had to audition for this part, but like, or did you?
yeah. Well, no, I mean, here's the thing, and I tell actors this all the time, is be an asset to any production. And what I mean by that is whether or not you're wanting to produce and put yourself in films or go that route, which I think is great. I think now more than ever, it's accessible. You can shoot films with an iPhone. You can shoot films and make content. You can put things out on YouTube. You can create reels for yourself. You can do it yourself more and more. And I say, do it, practice it, go for it. Just get as creative as possible. But I also think learn the different departments. Go, and if you're not booking yet, go be an extra. Get yourself on set. Learn what the director's doing. Learn what the different departments doing. Learn how a first AD is. Learn what a unit production manager does. Learn what a second AD does. Learn how to place things, what your mark is, what that is. Be a stand-in. Work with a DP in the G&E department to learn eye lines and how. I mean, all those things play to make you the best person you can be, and you'll become more of an asset the more you can do and the more hands you can provide on set and the more help you can be. That is one. Number two is right now more than ever, as you'll see, less and less work is happening in Los Angeles because of the fact that it's not a tax haven state. Really, I mean, there is a tax incentive, but it's really for the studio market. It's really for certain shows more so than films. And I think you can stand out being in tax haven states and position yourself to go move to, you might be a bigger fish in a smaller pond if you go out and move to Kentucky, if you go out and move to Arkansas, if you go out and move to New Jersey, where people are really taking advantage of in North America, these tax haven states. And if you're local hire, you will be able to get more jobs. Not to say don't move to LA because it's amazing and there's a lot, you can do the television thing and, but it is a lot more competition and it is harder. And I think the more you can do and the more you're educated on the business side of things, not just the craft. It's great to master the craft and get great at the craft, but there's a huge business aspect. And if you are just focusing on acting, if that is your thing, then you go get the fundamentals, get an agent, get a manager, get an agent, go out there and make sure you can take care of the business. Have a PR firm. It's great for people to know about you. Get your numbers up. Social media, super important. People are getting more and more parts from having numbers. Not to say you got to be an influencer, but get your numbers up, figure what is working, how to work those things. It does help.
Well, my numbers are getting up there, Dave. So if you need any lead roles, just let me know.
Yes,
I can get in there and I could play whatever.
Yeah.
And so are you still acting? Like, are you still actively doing any acting roles?
For me, I have such a love and a passion for acting, and it just has to make sense. I'm not really auditioning so much anymore because I can't take my focus away from my production company. Twerk Films is where my head's at, and I'm building something that I've seen the vision for a very, very long time, and I want to see it through. So if I do act in something, I don't want to take time away to go act while I'm in production because there's just not enough time in the day. Unfortunately, I can't be in two places at one time. So I look for projects where I can produce and act. That's just more of what makes more sense business-wise to me.
Right.
But so I would say right now producing over acting. But if a role makes sense and I can produce and act in it, I would love to do it.
And what would you say to like actors that are really wanting to get into feature films? Like, as far as how can they better their crafts? you know, as far as maybe some tutorials or different tools of the trade that you might know for new actors coming in that really want to, you know, get into features?
Yeah, I would say, you know, go to the different colleges, go to I mean, people that are graduating today are the big directors tomorrow, you know, and there's a lot of student projects that you can get involved at a young age that you can just get a reel together. You know what I mean? A lot of times when you're submitting, casting directors will want to see tape on you. They'll want to see what you look like performing on tape in something, right? And a lot of times actors don't have it. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars to create something. Go to a student film, get yourself in these projects. They might not pay anything. They probably won't, but you don't have to pay anything, at least.
Right.
Create those reels, create something where you can have your team then submit you properly. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get, because you're going to learn so much just being on set. I would say the more you're on set, the better you're going to get. Really practice on memorizing lines. It's like anything else. It's like learning an instrument. You know what I mean? That is a job itself. Rehearse, get a monologue that you get great at. Practice that monologue. Know what it is to have 2 pages worth of dialogue and you be able to say that, you know, and really have that memorization. You're not going to be able to have your sides in your hand and do this when you're on set, right? You gotta be able to put
I always
down.
wondered that. This is actually something I've always wondered. Like when you're doing scenes, right? You have the whole movie. Like, I mean, do you memorize like your lines and scenes where you're like, okay, today I'm shooting this scene and this is all I'm memorizing, and you're just focused on that one scene, or how do you do that?
I get familiar with the script.
So you
I
read
get
it over and over
very
again.
familiar over and over. I get very familiar with the script because an actor will have more opportunity to bring more to the table. The less they're having to think about the lines and the more authentic they can be and bring more to the character, right? So you want to get rid of those as quick as you can. Now, do you have to memorize the whole script if you're the lead or supporting? Absolutely not, because you're going to have your schedule and you know the movie's getting shot over 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So you have days to go over and make sure you're locked in that scene. So I would say once you get the schedule, then you can break the script down. You can say, okay, I'm going to make sure these lines are locked. I don't have to think about them anymore. And the next day or whatever, I'm going to get those down. But I familiarize myself with the full script, then I'll focus on that day and make sure every day I'm doing.
I always wondered that, man. I was actually thinking about that the other day because I was, you know, writing the outline. I'm like, I wonder how they do all the line. Like they have like days where they do like, you know, certain scenes, and I was like, I could do that. But if I had to memorize the whole thing, I don't know, man. I don't know. That seems like a lot. I didn't do well in school. I definitely didn't. Barely passed all my classes. But yeah, so let's I do have another question as far as acting is concerned, like feature film acting as opposed to like commercials or even television. When you're going out on auditions, like, are you focused as a film actor? Are you focused as like a TV actor or commercials? Or like if you're only going for film, are you going to audition for the other things too? Like I've always wanted to know that.
Very good question. I would say know the genre you are auditioning for, because a sitcom read is going to be a completely different take and reaction and speed. Even the timing of the show could be drastically different from a comedy to a crime drama, right? So definitely, I would say if it's a show that's running that you're auditioning for, watch the show, learn the speed, learn the pace, learn the mood, learn the vibe. All of that plays. For film, it's subtlety. The smallest movement looks very big on camera. So it's all about what's behind the eyes. It's all about really being as real and grounded as possible. You're not in a theater. You're not in a play. You're not big and showing. You don't have to perform for the guy in the back of the audience. That doesn't exist in film. You're right here. You know, they're tight on you, and they'll know if you're acting. the camera doesn't lie. They know.
Can you cry on command, Dave?
I can cry if I get into the character and I get into the scene. I'm not an emotional guy, and believe it or not, it's funny because I think personally it's more dramatic, especially for a male. I think it's more dramatic when you're trying to hold back the tears. A man doesn't really want to show tears, right? So there's a lot more heart and depth, and you can pull on the emotion strings when you're actually really trying to hold back the tears. And I think that's more powerful than actually just letting them all out. And if it does come out, it comes out. But
if you need any help to cry, I can give you a little pop in the nose. You know what I mean?
Thanks, I'm good.
I need to cry.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that, Dave. If you need me, I'll be the professional nose popper.
Right.
So if there's any crying films. We have some questions I want to go over here. Kira, this is random. Josh, this is random, but it's Kira, one that makes the drawings of you on Instagram. Can I have a shout out? Absolutely. Kira is amazing. She draws those pictures that I don't know if you've seen them on my Instagram of like me and the boys. Really cool. She does a really good job of drawing us, and she's really cool. So,
awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Kira. And then, how do you see the scene you're in without seeing a prop? Oh, when you're auditioning, maybe. How do you see a scene you are in without seeing a prop? I mean, I think that's for like the audition. I think it's acting. You got to act. You got to act. You have to act, and you have to believe in yourself first. Like you have to believe that you are that person, and have the props and have the scene in your head. Like you have to believe that you are that person. You have to act. Absolutely. So let's transition this into movie production, because Mr. David Wachs just released a film, 72 Hours. Where can we watch that film, Dave?
Right now you can find it on any of the pay-per-view, right? If you go to Amazon or Apple TV, you can find it there. We are currently cutting a deal with Hulu for streaming, so it will be on there soon.
Yeah, and I got to go to the red carpet. I got to go to the premiere of 72 Hours. Amazing film, great cast. I don't want to give away too much, but I do want to say, like, just talk about the cast. Who was the main characters in?
Yeah,
72 Hours?
So main cast, it was Cam Gijonde from Twilight, Sam Trammell from True Blood. We had legendary NFL player Vernon Davis in it. Nikki Whalen, who is just she's just such a great spirit and a wonderful actress. And then we had Emmy Award-winning Pearson Fodeo. I've actually done 2 movies with him. He brought so much to the film. He's just such a charismatic guy to watch on screen. Really talented guy. Jessica Serfati, who I've worked with, she was actually in Ride as well. We brought her back for 72 Hours. She's a great actress. So it was a great all-star cast, directed by Christian Sesma. It was a Toric Films production, and we were really pleased with it. And we had Beacon Media came on board as our execs and allowed us to make this really great piece of art. And I can't wait to show it with the world, share it with the world, and let's do this. Let's watch a quick preview of 72 Hours, and then people can go check out the rest of it later. 72 Hours, everybody.
We know they're flipping crypto for guns.
Get down! FBI, stop! Put your hands on your head! How could you be so stupid?
I do whatever I have to for my family.
Ty Ravello is a vicious gun smuggling criminal with ties from cartels to foreign delegates.
The FBI has our crypto wallet. I didn't think I'd find out that you set me up. The sins of a father are passed on to their child.
What did you do?
You have 72 hours to bring me the hard drive.
The USB is the only thing keeping the clock ticking.
You take from me, and I take from you.
Tell me what you want me to do.
We're gonna be outgunned.
Anything you need, I got it. MP5s, locks, suppressors, grenades. You guys need any tutorials? Nah, we're good.
They're gonna save me. And they're gonna kill you.
The two brothers. This whole Cain and Abel story.
Family. I mean, this is what it's all about.
Nice. All right. 72 hours, everybody. Make sure you check that out. That was a great film, produced by Torque Films, Mr. David Wachs. Congratulations on that movie, buddy, man. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, how does this even start? Like, where did 72 hours start? Like, what happened? Like, I mean, so somebody came to you and said, I have an idea, or I mean, how did
Believe
that
it or not, we were on a different production. Me and my business partner, Oja Masagi, we were shooting a film that he was directing in Mexico called Deadly Games, which is also going to be released through Vertical Entertainment very shortly. And there was an actor by the name of Roberto Sanchez, who was actually in another film we did called Day Labor. And he pitched us an outline of this movie. And Ojan, being a writer, director, very creative, he goes, I absolutely love it. I want to take it. I want to work on it. So we optioned the rights for the story, and we brought it over to a writer by the name of Sean Crane. And we all just started working on it. And then when Christian Sesma obviously came on board, he brought a lot to the table as a writer as well. And we put it together, and then we do what we do as producers, right? We put the whole, project together. We got an incredible team out in Georgia, and we went out there. We worked with a great crew, great team. And the rest is history. So we actually.
How long did it take you to film 72 hours? Like not post, not including post, because I know that's crazy, but like, how long did you have like the actors?
From development to production was almost a year's worth of work.
A year's worth of work. But how long did it take you to film it?
Filming was, we shot that in 3 weeks. We shot that in 3 weeks. So we had 2 weeks of, we had about a month of prep, 2 weeks of physical prep, and then we ended up shooting over 3 weeks. And then, of course, post took another 6 months. So
yeah, and it's really all about that post, right? Like getting the music right, getting everything right. The
edit takes.
So as a producer, I mean, who has like final words? So like, we get all these clips and we get these shots. Like, so then what is your job as a producer then? Sure.
So typically our production company will have final cut. We reserve the rights. And we obviously need to make it make sense with the distribution. Some territories might require different things, might require a different edit. Every now and then you'll find, depending on how big the director is, sometimes they negotiate final cut, but it's very rare. It's very rare. I would say 9 times out of 10, the producers will hold the final cut, which just makes sense because they're responsible for selling it worldwide, not the director, right?
Right. That's crazy.
So we reserve those rights, and we had to cut. There's a lot of different variations in M&E and certain things, certain dubbing things, depending on if you're selling to Germany or selling to France or selling to Latin America, or that you have to have ready those M&E tracks.
How was it for you working with Cam and Sam, like just an all-star cast? Like how was it for you just on set, like being there in the moment, like watching this whole thing come to light?
It's a nerve-wracking experience, because a producer's job is, when everything is falling apart, to always look calm and collective and assure your team that everything is fine.
I know
And that's
that
the
one.
job of
I know that
producers.
one.
We're like firefighters, right? We are literally putting out fires left and right to show the actors or the director that everything is running smooth. And it might be running smooth, or it could be literally falling apart. You can have a tornado coming in the next day, which we had to do. We had a force majeure. We had to literally push off one day of production because the weather was that terrible. And those are things you can't plan for, you know what I mean? And you just have to figure it out. You have to work out those kinks, work out those problems. But the goal for a producer always is to be calm and collected and assure the team and especially the actors that everything is always great.
Interesting. So you have to act
So
as
you're
a
almost,
producer.
yeah. A good producer is also a good actor. That's
It's
for sure.
all acting. It's all
Yeah.
acting, even the producing. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy, man. That's really cool and amazing that you really pulled that off. And I'm looking forward to future projects because I like going to these premieres. I like going and watching
Yes.
the creation of what you've been working on for so long. Excuse me.
Well, I'm
And
looking forward to you starring in one of those premieres, brother. So
I'm looking forward to that too, man. I'm ready for that. I'm ready to uh get into, get on the big screen. I think that's what I want to do. I've never really wanted to be I never had an interest in like commercials or like TV acting. I'm on a few reality shows at the moment, but uh but I really want to get into features, and it's always been, I think whose dream isn't that? You know what I mean? Like, as growing up and seeing Tom Cruise on Top Gun and be like, man, that it looks so dang cool. Like, I would want to do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, for every person that wants to be a movie star, I'll give you 5 that are scared to death to have to memorize lines and get in front of a camera. So you are one of the select few, and I think whoever's privileged enough, because I think it's a privilege, I think it's a blessing to be able to be creative and to have that drive and dedication, want to be involved in this crazy business. For anyone that does, I say go for it because it really is fulfilling in so many ways.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And recently, I don't know if I told you, but Jet was approached to be in a film.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah, it was crazy. Kind of came out of nowhere, but they were like, we think he has just a great story behind him, and we like him, just for the story that he is. Does he want to act? We have this role, and he got him actually really excited. Like, I think he wants to get back into it, get into acting, because he was on Grey's Anatomy as a kid.
Yeah.
Barney, like he was. Like, that was always an interest to him, and he was really good, man. He was a great kid actor for sure.
Well, he's got a great look. He's got a great look, and if he's got the desire to do it, I support that 1,000%. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So what new projects are you working on? Can we talk about that? Like, can we talk about what you're working on, who you're working with? I mean.
Yeah, we got a few projects that that we'll be servicing some. So we've got an we have an action, actually, crime action that we're going to be doing here shortly. We're just piecing together the final elements for casting, but it's with some directors that I've worked with, and it'll be another Torrid Films production. We're going to be taking it to Kentucky. So happy to service. We have another horror movie that we're going to be servicing as well. I'm really excited about one particular crime thriller that Ojan will be directing. He's also writer. He put a great writing team together to work with him on the story that he created. It's a crime thriller, and it is, I mean, I think it's going to sweep the festivals. It's a powerful, powerful piece.
Are you guys working on it right now? Like, I mean, or is that what you're telling me we're filming in?
Yeah. Well, first we're going to do this production service, but after that we're going to do this one called Nexus. It's our own IP, and it's just such a dynamic story. I don't want to give too much away too soon, but we will do heavy marketing. But we're putting the cast together as we speak right now and putting the financial plan together.
Yeah. And so does Torque Film have like social media? Like how do people follow?
Yeah. So we can update. I mean, obviously our website is torquefilms.com. So that's
Oh, look at that. It's on the screen. That's pretty cool.
Thank you so much for that. And then obviously our handle is Torque Films as well on IG and those different platforms.
So then people that are interested in getting into like making movies, like behind the camera, what is like your piece of advice for somebody that's like, I've always wanted to, like, maybe not star in it, but they want to make a movie, right? They want to get onto the production set. Like, what would be your advice to somebody like starting out? I want to get in movie production. Like, that's what I want my career to be. How do I start?
I think the most important thing is to identify your strengths and figure out whether that's, am I the guy that can identify great scripts? Or am I a writer that wants to get into it? It might take you reading 100 scripts before you find one that just resonates and you're like, I need to tell this story, right? So I think it starts with that. Then it's, Oprah Winfrey said it best, your network is your net worth. And it's really about just identifying the different departments of either finding somebody like me that can help you, put it together and service you and be the boots on the ground producers and produce alongside with you. But if that's the case, then you need to at least identify the financiers that are going to finance the picture and know that, or have friends that are in distribution or agencies that can package certain things, right? So you're a little further along in the process when you come to me. Because if you're just like everyone else, just having a random script and that's all you have, and you're throwing out, I got a $5 million script right here, I'm coming to your company to raise the money, probably not far enough along, right? But if you can start like putting those pieces together, get yourself further along, we're either working with a distribution company, figured out your executive producers, your financiers, and then need to like actually flush out the script to say, okay, this is what it's actually going to cost. This is what's actually going to take. This is what, I need to offset this by, 300,000, 400,000. I need to cash flow the rebate. I need to do certain things. Then you come to a company like Torque Films and we can help you put that together.
Okay. So, and is there any like places or like anywhere online, like, like I want to get into movie production, right? So like, actors we have, they have acting classes, right? But like, how does a producer or even like getting into production, like how does that start? Like how do people like search for that?
Yeah, you know what? There's not a whole lot of that in one platform. I have been talking with Ojan about putting something together like that because I feel like we have a lot of golden nuggets, but it's a plethora of information and it's a lot to take in. So I think eventually we might put something like that together and have like a roadmap for a producer of what to do and especially of what not to do. Right now we don't have anything like that, unfortunately, but hopefully just from hearing these kind of conversations, it can inspire and help. And if people have more questions or whatnot, always an email away if they want to, try to figure
out. One sec. Sorry, my daughter was locked out.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I heard her trying to get the door anyways. All right. So back into 72 hours. 72 hours. It's available on Apple TV. We can stream it there.
Apple TV, Amazon. If you want to check it out right now, please do. It's a great, fun action thriller. I promise you it's worth popping some popcorn and checking it out. It's a fun ride.
And then as far as like acting in these upcoming are you going to be in these upcoming films as well?
There's a couple of films. Yeah, there's a couple of films that are pretty dear to me that I am considering acting in. So I will keep you posted on that. But yes, to answer the question, absolutely yes. And I'm excited to bring more to the table and to have fun and get to play, man.
Yeah. And then, you can always keep me in mind for any films. I might write you a part in,
Yes.
my
Yes.
film, then we could,
It'd be fun.
maybe I might make you a villain that I have to beat up or something. I'm
Just-
gonna beat you up in
just-
racquetball, or we're
Just
gonna
have a
have a
really
racquetball
good
team where
stunt
you're gonna
double that
do-
like jumps off buildings or something. That's me.
You're gonna do your own stunts like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I'll think about it. If it's jumping
Tom
off a
Cruise,
building,
that's a whole nother level, right? I mean, that's like superstar. That's like movie star. Like
I'll tell
that
you,
is
there's
movie
very few actors in the business that no matter what they do, I will go see, and he is absolutely one of them. I'm a huge fan.
There's a new Mission Impossible coming out,
I'm
actually.
super excited. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
All right, and then so as far as anything else going in the production world, I mean, what about like, how do you become like a PA? Like, is that like your starting position?
That would
in
be your
like
starting
movies?
position. Yep. So
Like
the
starting.
PA stands for production assistant. And so, and a PA can wear a lot of different hats. You can be doing everything from setting up base camp to assisting with logistics of locations to helping the actor get from point A to point B to coordinating to working with your, second AD, to assisting the director, to assisting the producer. You got to really just be on your A game, but you learn a lot as a production assistant. And it's a great job, and it's great to get experience. But that would be your starting point for getting your foot in the door, I would say. It's kind of a roll your sleeves up and be ready to do anything. And it's, films are long hours. I've been on sets for 12 hours on a good day and 16 hours where you're just dying and you're exhausted and you got to do it all again the next day, but you just have to get through it sometimes.
Is there any movies that you're excited about coming out? Any features that you're really looking forward to? Coming out?
That just in general, not to do with my company, not that I'm producing.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's I was really happy with some of the, so I'm a big thriller horror guy. So, when movies like Substance came out, and
everybody's talking about Substance.
Yeah, I mean, Demi Moore won the Golden Globe, and
Really?
I'll tell you what, it was a masterpiece for the first 90 minutes. Masterpiece. And then obviously it's like a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. And the last 30 minutes, they just went way to the right for horror fans, or to the left, or whatever you want to say. And it's very specific to horror fans only, and it just lost me. But for that first 90 minutes, it's just a fantastic movie. It's just
interesting. What is that on? Because I was looking for that. You're actually like the third or fourth person that has said, "Have you seen Substance?"
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, am I missing something here? Because
right.
It sounds like everybody's talking about it. I think I have to see it.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I just saw a movie called Companion, which has already grossed $27 million in the box office. It's gaining a lot of success, and I have to say it's the same actress that was in Heretic with Hugh Grant, which I also liked, and that was a very contained, literally 3 people in the whole movie, pretty much, and you were completely captivated and entertained the whole time. Highly recommend that one too. But she was in this movie called Companion that I just saw in theaters, and really fun, cool thriller. I recommend that too.
I mean, as like a producer and people like getting into acting, do you watch like movies as homework? Like, I mean, do you study these films and you study these actors? Like, it's just a different type of watch for you now?
100%. And I try to go to at least, I make it a point to go to at least 2 films a week. And I'm a theater guy, so I don't like to be at home just like on Netflix. Not to say I don't watch a ton of shows and I'm home and streaming things, but I like going to the big screen, and I try to at least see 2 films a week if I can, unless I'm in production. Obviously.
And it doesn't matter. Will you go see Wicked? Like, you're fine with going to see Wicked? Oh,
I see everything. And to be honest with you, I thought Wicked was good. I thought it was good. It wasn't my cup of tea. It's not my genre. It's not my choice. But I saw it, and enjoyed it for what it was, for the musical that it was. I thought they
Yeah,
did it.
I mean, maybe that's a good start, right? Like if people are like really wanting to get into movies, like study movies, like go
Study the
watch them, study the actors. Because I do that. I find myself doing that, now too, is where I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
like I'll see some acting, I'll be like, I think that could have been done better,
Right.
or like a casting. I'm like, I don't know if that was the right person for that part. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I could see somebody, and so maybe that's a start for a lot of people is like movie watching, taking notes, maybe even like delivering lines back and see if like you could act it. Like
Right.
that could be a really good
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. Like, and be real with yourself too. Like I like people to be grounded and know what they look like, who they are, what they can play. Not to say you can't learn accents and be a French man one day and a Russian man the next, if you really are authentic and can learn the accent. But I think to begin with, you got to really understand, like, what do I look like? What can I really play? What movies are out there that I think whatever that actor is doing, I can do that just as good, maybe better, maybe worse, but I can at least do that part, right? And knowing what your strength is, because just because you're the best looking guy in the room or girl in the room doesn't mean you're going to get all the parts. Maybe the not so good looking one will actually work more than you because they found their niche. They know what it is that they can play, and once you find that, I think you have a good starting handle on what to go after.
Well, Dave, you'd inspired me today. I'm gonna go watch some movies, and I think I'm gonna go audition for some major roles. Like I feel like I should just go do it.
I think you should too.
No, but no, I appreciate you taking the time and talking to us about movies. I know that you love movies, and I love movies as well. And it was just fun to just chat with you today about features and what you've accomplished and acting, like your world. Because normally we always talk about my world, so
Right,
it's nice to talk about everything that you're doing. And I can't wait to see what you create, and I can't wait to make a movie with you. Like that would be like.
That's gonna
If
be
I
fantastic.
was like ultimate goal, like that's what I put in my head. I want to make a movie, and who else but to do it with Torque Films and Mr. David Wachs. You know what I
Thank you.
mean?
I appreciate that. That means a
Yeah.
lot. Thank you for having me. I hope I've inspired. I hope I connect. I hope maybe someone watching or listening wants to reach out one day and I can work with them too. But it's been an honor. Would love to get you on the big screen, my brother. You know that.
Yeah, man. And everybody watching, send every script that you have to Mr. David Wachs. Here's his personal phone number. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. No, man. But thanks for joining me. I appreciate you. That's why we created Spotlight. Spotlight is for people getting into entertainment, acting, modeling, singing, dancing. Like we're going to cover all aspects of entertainment. We have a magazine attached to Spotlight. We have live castings with agents and casting directors, managers. So if you're not a member yet, make sure you check out Spotlight, join, because we do these lives all the time. Next week, I have a very special guest who was in a film as a dancer. He was in a Step Up film, and we'll be talking with him next week. So make sure you tune in, Dave. And brother, I will see you in Los Angeles soon. Thank you guys all for watching. This is all the time we have for you today. Peace.